interested. We've had, what is it, 8, 9 companies with GFL that looked at it, and we only got the one bid. And some of these companies are the local companies that we were referring to, right? So,
Can I ask Councilor Waco if he renewed his original statement?
The 5 years.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bales.
Oh, good.
Okay, I'll rescind that motion. I'll put the original one back in that we go for the 5 years.
any more discussion on it?
And you still want us to request
I-
GFL to come up
I think we're good. Oh, to come up and
and be in front of council to.
about the recycling?
Yeah.
Because yes, I think, well,
Yeah.
we'll deal with the recycling when we get,
Yeah, when we get to that.
All right.
because yeah. All right, so we have a motion on the floor to approve them for 5 years with the option of a 6 if we so desire. All in favor? Opposed? It is carried. Let's move on to the recycling now. Councilor Marquez.
Sorry, I know we've awarded them 5 years, but can we not speak with them about potentially, asking them if they're willing to go to, yeah.
Back out.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
It's just a question, right? I mean,
Yeah.
all they can do is say no, it's for consideration, just,
For some of the residents in the back alley. We'd have to.
don't
really
tell them
figure-
up front that we're saying yes, just, don't post this video.
Yeah,
Until after the conversation.
any, in the recycling then, can I get a motion on the recycling part of this? Councilor Waco.
I will make the motion the council directs administration to look for more options for residential recycling in the area and bring back options at a future council meeting. And to not renew our bins that we got currently from GFL at this time.
Okay, so that's looking in for more options, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what do they want to charge us? $6 each, and right now they charge us $131 per bin per month.
So it is over, like, the total monthly fee, Shanda mentioned, was around $25.91. And it's now, they're proposing $5,414.
So they're doubling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other part of that is, I know this question was asked before, and it has been asked online. Where is this going? If this is just going to the dump, I mean, look, I'm all for saving the planets and the whales and all that. I believe in it. I believe in renewable energy and global warming and all of that stuff. It's real and it's happening. But we're fooling ourselves if we think that, oh, I'm going to put it in the recycling bin. Yay, I'm saving the planet. No, it's just going into a different hole. And if that's all that's happening, then whatever. I'm not interested.
No, it's a good point, because we did find out that
Glass.
that was happening with the glass. And if they're having to pay to dump these recycling bins, is what they're claiming, then it's a tipping fee
Yeah.
versus getting paid for the product that they used to be dropping off. So I suspect that's why the increase in price is they're saying, we got no market for the recycling, therefore we need to charge more to pick it up and to get rid of it.
Now, if they want to do residential pickup for $5.93 for garbage, as opposed to 8 something or 9 something. But yeah, that's.
I just, given what we talked about around residential pickup, what are we going to do if the service continues to be sporadic and, you know, we have issues. I mean, sometimes it is regular, but every once in a while, then we go, you know, we're waiting.
They're pretty good about letting people know though, that, you know, hey, the truck broke down, we're gonna be there later tonight, we're gonna be there tomorrow, sorry. They are pretty good about letting people know, and word does spread fast. People notice, right? Like my kids wait to go down and get the garbage to bring it up. I've gotten phone calls from my kids at 3. Yeah, the garbage hasn't come yet. I just leave it there, it's fine. You know,
But there's been a couple times where she's gone a couple days, or it's gone a couple days before it's been picked up.
That's not unusual.
if a truck breaks down, like I think,
Just let somebody else talk.
You know, it's not unusual. I know my experience at Fort St. John, you know, the trucks would break down, not frequently, but they, kind of often. And yeah, you have to wait 2 or even 3 days. So everybody leaves their bins out. You know, but unfortunately, I mean, that's the way it is in all municipalities. Trucks break down, those trucks break down.
And it does happen, absolutely. And even when we had the other garbage pickup, we had breakdowns too, if we remember back when it isn't new. Okay, so we have the motion to keep this for recycling, Councilor Martins?
We will require a public service announcement just to let residents know that, because, you know, I know we go to just to let people know that those bins as of December or January 1st will not be there. So if you're flattening your cardboard boxes, that's no longer a place. And I would say it such that council is looking at options, or administration is looking at options in the new year.
And I think in this, to extend on what Councilor Martin said, I think to extend that is to explain the increase in the pricing.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's not feasible, but we are looking at other options. Just so they know why, because it'll be like, why?
Transparency, of course.
Okay. Is there others that pick up recycling? Is it the same sort of deal? I think GFL's been doing it for us for forever, right? Even when we had other people picking up the waste in town, they still had the recycling. We've never had anybody else that I'm aware of doing the recycling. Is there others out there that do these recycle bins?
I'm sure there probably is, so as we will investigate into what other options we can actually bring forward.
Yeah, to see and contact some and see if we can get better rates.
there have been other companies that have done recycling back, in town. When we had the bins that were in that little fenced area, I think that was Recycle Plus was the ones that did that, right? They did that, and I know there's at least one place out of Grant Prairie that does it, you know, so there's options.
All right, Councilor Martins?
Does this mean that we require another tender for recycling then, for just that component, for residential recycling?
We would need another tender, yeah. Because there's nobody, we only have the one bid, and what we're saying is that we're not going to do it, but we're gonna look for other options, is the motion on the floor.
So then do we direct administration, what is the motion now? What does it say, James?
To explore other
What
options.
does it say now?
So there will be, the contract will expire and no recycling will be picked up. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to be clear there.
And that we're looking at other options because of the price increase and,
But does your motion need to be more specific to direct administration to put out a tender for a residential recycling for X amount of time or whatever it is?
Not until we get that information.
Yeah.
Because if they're gonna charge the same thing.
And I guess the other thing for me that would be really important is that why the big increase and where is this going? if it's just going to the landfill, then we need to know that. We don't, if it's going to the landfill, people won't want to pay extra money to see the stuff hauled off to the landfill like everything else. Councillor Daneka?
Well, that was what I was gonna say, like, I mean, if we know that that stuff's going into the like, it's not being recycled, it's just going into the dump. Is there I mean, other than the convenience of having people having a place to take their cardboard, is it even worthwhile having those if it just goes to the dump? Like, why pay $8,000 a year or whatever somebody to take recycling bins, but it's a waste of money as far as I'm concerned, if it's just going in the dump. But then, of course, it's the convenience of having a place to take your cardboard, as opposed to leaving it out with your garbage that they won't pick up because it's not in the bin, right? Because they don't get out of the truck. So,
And we educate the public, to recycle, and then we get the results. I know in Fort St. John, we discovered that only 20% went to recycling, 80% went back into the landfill. And we educate the public, but on the political side, the residents, it's a feel-good thing to know you're putting it in the blue box. And so council would have to decide, we're going to cut off the contract or let it expire, and then all of a sudden there's no recycling. You're going to get the clean green energy kind of people come out and protest or have a delegation in front of council. But we can justify it because of the doubling of the cost. So,
Well, and we need to find out where it's going.
yes.
The cost is one issue, but where is it going? And then we can decide, maybe we want to, if it's not going to the dump and it is getting recycled, maybe we put it out for tender again, just on that part of it, and see if we can get better rates and go from there. Councillor Yashishin?
I guess I'm just more seconding that, but, yeah, it's important to know, especially where it's going, and I think people understand that that's where it's going, if that's where it is going, is to the dump, well then, but I think there's gotta be other options out there. I mean, it's huge. I mean, recycling, people wanna do it, and there is a lot of that going on, so I think what this will do is give us that opportunity to be able to have a look at that.
And then,
But, go ahead,
I was
Councillor.
just gonna say, and if it is going to the dump, then it gives us the opportunity as residents to take it ourselves to the dump.
Yep, we can take it. We've got the Gilwood station that I think most people use fairly regularly. But I think the key point that's been made is that there is going to be some pushback on canceling a recycling one, and we have to get the messaging out there, but we can also expect some concerns from the residents that want to see the recycling work and think that it should be done, regardless of the price. But we can still look at it and explore that, is what we're saying.
If it's being recycled for real, then fine, right? I think people are amenable to that. But if it's just going to the dump, and with such an astronomical jump in fees, where else is it going?
Did Pontico's question.
Yeah,
Okay, I gotta call the question. Sorry, are we all in favor of calling the question? Well, we haven't called the question. That means we've got to vote on whether we want to call the question, right? All in favor of calling the question? Okay, opposed? We have one or two, so it's gonna be passed. So the motion is to look for more options for residential recycling in the area and bring back options. All in favor? It is carried. And
And
moving
inflate
on,
geothermal.
yeah, moving on then to, 9.1, the interim budget. Get a motion on this? Page 79, Counselor Dunn.
That council approved the interim 2025 operating budget as detailed in appendix 1.
All right. Any questions on this interim budget? Everybody understands, it's just there to keep us going until we can finalize the 2025 one? All right, all in favor? It's carried. Moving on to the GPOT write-offs, which was the addition. Can I get a motion on this? Counselor Dunn?
That the balances is detailed in appendix A, 2024 GPOT outstanding balances totaling $62,367.97 be written off.
What's this not?
Oh, okay.
That's not that long ago.
Well, we can let Chanda explain it, and I think it's been written off before.
So yes, this has been brought to council for prior years.
No, I'm meaning in the last couple of months, we just went over this, did we not?
This was our motion that we made at the Alberta municipalities. So that's why it probably looks really familiar, because we've seen these numbers because of that motion that we made, which passed with a 95.1% rating, by the way.
So a couple of the roll numbers were under review still, so we just got the final numbers just recently. That's why we have it on.
So what if we vote against it?
Then they'll hold back our grants.
It's, yeah,
They're still not gonna pay it.
I know, but
Yeah,
when we vote for it, it looks like we're supporting it.
questions on this one, other comments, questions? All right, all in favor? Carried.
Opposed?
Opposed? I can see that. Yeah, okay. Moving on to our CAO's report and action list. Can I get a motion on this?
I will move that we accept the CAO, interim CAO Shenandoah wants report and action list for information. God, yes. Somebody else make a motion.
All right, with this, we'll turn it over to which was our acting CAO and part of our interim CAO to give a report.
yeah, so at the time that this agenda was done, I was
Yeah.
interim. So I attended a couple meetings, the Joint Recreation Committee meeting, in regards to the budget, and that was, jointly done with the Budget Review Committee as well. Was in attendance for a special meeting of council on December 3rd. We've been having multiple meetings with the leadership team to go over the budget. The municipal accountability program review with municipal affairs was postponed until such time as the CAO was hired. I know David's been talking to them now to get that ball rolling again. Upcoming meetings, the ICF that was originally scheduled for December 12th was rescheduled for February 4th. And that's just in the week. put it over to David now if he wants to provide any updates on anything else.
My second day here,
Yeah.
we did, the municipal accountability program, they are, it has to be, it'll be audited, there's a deadline at the end of March. And so they'll look at our minutes, mandatory bylaws, such as a code of conduct bylaw, the CAO bylaw, property tax bylaw, that kind of thing. They'll look at financial statements, council resolutions, taxes, planning documents, and municipal development plan. And just to make sure that, as they put it, that we're achieving the legislative compliance. So it's a good thing. It just keeps us, and we're a smaller community, so that's and it's our turn to be looked at. So it's a good thing, and none of it can be blamed on me. Coming in like this, so but we can always make. I'm sure we can make improvements across, in some areas. I won't say across the board. I'm sure a lot of things are being done correctly here, and I've always thought that auditors are our friends. Our external auditors, whoever else wants to look at us, because it helps us to be on the straight and narrow.
Okay, is there any questions, comments? Councillor Waco?
It was mentioned, I think, when MMSA was here, at some point, this first one, this telecommunications thing, they're only 6 months behind. Can we find out, I know they were short-staffed, but can we light a fire under their butt on that one? We're coming up on 3 years that they've been looking at this. So that's the very first thing on the list there. And if it can't be done, it can't be done, but tell us. Find out where they're, where they're at with that one, would be my only one that's just sort of like a piece of popcorn in the back of my teeth.
Well, coming in fresh, as I am, I'll go through this whole list with the leadership team and report back to council next meeting. Next
January.
We're January. So that's good.
Well, we haven't canceled the Christmas Eve one.
You're
making an
Mr. Mayor, if you want to come and sit here on Christmas Eve, you're more than welcome to do so. I will not.
So the first meeting in January is January.
We always meet on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of the month. That's our meeting schedule. Okay, anything else on our CAO's report? I just want to say thank you to Shanda and for Herman who covered off and welcoming David in. So good. We're on a good path again.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for all of that covering off and keeping the doors open, so to speak. That's awesome. Okay, we had a motion to receive for information. All in favor? It is carried. And moving on to our Christmas meeting, can I get a motion on this, or not a Christmas Eve meeting? Councillor Yashisha.
The council approved the request to cancel the December 24th, 2024 regular council meeting and direct administration to advertise the cancellation.
All right, any discussion on this? All in favor? Carried. And moving up then to our written and verbal reports, and we'll start with Councillor Danaka.
Other than the special meetings and et cetera, my only meeting was the 2025 fire budget. As Chief Cicerowski had mentioned, the big item will be if council will approve the option of having a full-time fire chief. In his presentation, he explained the justification of that and the benefits of a full-time fire chief. If people desire, I can send that to them and they can read his justifications as to why and the highlights of the budget, which will be coming to us for approval probably in January sometime at some budget meeting. Other than that, that's my only meeting, so I move my verbal report for information.
Okay, questions, comments for Councilor Tanaka? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried. Councilor Dunn?
I was at the same meeting, the only thing I have to add to that is, that there is, but as, the fire chief mentioned, the fireman, deputy chief David Martinson would be an awesome fire chief, but he has his own business and, things to run, but he and his spouse are, she runs big lakes and he runs, or he's deputy too, so it would be awesome, but we'd have to look at a substantial increase, I'm sure.
Okay, anything for Councilor Dunn? You gotta move your report.
I move that, council receive my verbal report for information.
All in favor? It's carried. Councilor Martins?
No,
All right, for myself, attended the recreation budget review meeting. And, with that one, there was some increases and some of them were discussed at the, at our budget meeting the other, last night. And, so there was overall on that budget, just as a highlight, it's an increase of about $126,000 or a 6.7% increase. Most of that was tied into a person at the arena that they were looking at, and she talked about that last night. There were some other things, like the security system, some one-time costs. The Simco costs have gone up. They increased the repairs and maintenance budget on that so that they could repair some more of the arenas and some of the pools and stuff. And yeah, that was basically it. So they were looking for some additions there, but the committee members that were there all understood and said that they would approve that change and bring it to the council. So that's where that one's at. Also had a meeting with ANCA, met with Community Futures to discuss the possibility of partnering with them for some of the reports that ANCA had done and the reports that came from that mental health symposium that they held. And they would help with some funding to ANCA, meets their requirements, helps with ANCA funding. So that is going to the membership for agreement to see if we would agree with Community Futures. Haven't heard the end result, but they were doing a vote by email, but I think it was all pretty positive. With that, I move my report for information unless anybody's got some questions, comments. Councilor Tanaka.
So that 100 and some odd increase, is that the town's portion, or is that split between?
That's the there's something with our two mics on at the same time. That's two, that's the total, so it would be half of that for us, yeah. Councillor Stenhouse?
I have a question on your timesheet. Would you like to address that now?
Sure.
So, on November 12th, the Métis flag raising event. So at our last meeting, we denied Councillor Danaka proclaiming that. And you have marked it in.
That was pre-approved, if you go back in the minutes, that was approved, you approved it.
On November the 12th?
Yes, well, it was whatever day that, if you go back in the minutes, that was an approved motion of council.
I know,
It's two different ones. The one that I put in for was Indigenous Veterans Day. He put in for Métis flag raising. They were two different.
Okay. And Donna, do you want to shut your mic off? I'm sorry, really bad feedback here. So Heart River Housing Hiring Committee, so is that a new committee?
Oh, you know what? That's it is a new committee for them, but I should not have had any amount in there.
You don't, it's a zero amount.
I'm
On
looking at what's in
October 28th?
Oh, October 28th.
there, and it is showing an amount in there.
Oh.
That's an error on my part. That should not be there.
Because I actually wanted to question that, because
Yeah,
when we serve on committees, we're there as a town representative in this Heart River Housing Hiring Committee. How do
It's
you,
a subcommittee of Heart River Housing.
okay,
But I think the fact that, I mean, he said it's an error, the fact that if you look on the November 20th, he's got it on there, but he's got a zero amount.
That is my mistake, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just,
Well,
it's an honest error,
I'll
so,
have to work with Shanda on correcting that.
well, the way to do it is just don't claim for tonight's meeting.
Yeah.
Right, and then it balances out.
Yeah, that would be a good way of doing it, just
Yeah.
putting a zero on one.
okay.
Does that though satisfy, like, are we gonna have an auditor come and ask us about that later? Because should we not have something that shows that this was an error that was made and a deduction was made? So I would rather James see his actual timesheet, and then a deduction because of an error made in a previous timesheet. That you need that for an auditor to be able to determine what took place in that
So
situation.
Bailey can put it in the minutes.
Yeah.
That would be proof on that.
Okay.
And then the auditor would be fine with that.
Alright.
Okay, anything else? All right, all in favor? It's carried. Moving on then. We've got Councillor, oh geez, I lost the official list. Should know this by now. Councillor Stenhouse is there.
No report.
Councillor Waco.
No, you stole my thunder, right, so it's fine, you can have that one. I did go to the Peace Library System in November there for quarterly meeting, some highlights out of that one. I got notes. New board was elected, plan of service was updated, they presented the budget, modest increase due to inflation. They did a security upgrade on FortiGates, it's one of their security programs that they've got on there. They've done a new logo that you'll see on their stuff. I'm just finding it, got it in here somewhere. Oh, here it is. New Peace Library System logo. We went through, and they would like municipalities to write a letter to the Minister of Municipal Affairs, Rick McIver, as it falls under his purview, to increase the per capita for library funding. On that, I'll get a hold of Louise over at the center there and see if they've got like a form letter that they've got, so it's all the same, or if they want us to just make our own out of what do you call it? Just make our own letter stating such. So we've got that. Also attended their Christmas party, which was kind of fun, actually. Best Christmas party I've been to in a long time. But I did not charge for going to the Christmas party. That is my report, and I move that for information.
Okay, anybody, questions, comments? All in favor? Councillor Shishin.
I just had the one meeting, the rec budget meeting, and I think pretty much, I can't think of anything else to add there, so, if there's any questions.
Okay.
I do actually have a question. So when will we see that rec budget?
That's a good question.
I don't know the answer to that. Well, it'll be part of our regular budget discussions, which will be going again in January, right? So it'll probably be coming around then.
Can we get that in advance so that we're not scrambling through it the night of the meeting? Is there any way that we can have it so we can review it?
Yeah, I mean, typically, don't they provide these, like, we get the packages well in advance?
Thinking it would be in here too, but.
Well, there's our finance manager will address it.
So I can provide both the fires presentation and the recreation's presentation to put in your binders that you have.
Yeah.
Well in advance of our next meeting.
Great, thanks.
So we should be looking at all of those budgets that have been reviewed, the library, the
Yeah.
museum. all
So
of
I
those.
can have all of that stuff too. It was like we did in the last,
Yeah.
in 2024's package, we had that for information sheets and now we can do that. So if you wanna bring me your binders and I can update them. Okay. Or if they're still here, just leave them here.
Yeah, no, it's at home.
Thanks.
All right, anything else? All in favor? Opposed?
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
I had it up, but it wasn't very high.
Oh, okay.
You gotta put your head way up so we can
Get your
see it.
flag up there.
You didn't do it anymore.
All right, so with that, meeting is adjourned.